Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're doing an ultimate Pirate Rumble guide for you guys, taking a look at all of the color teams and the best options that are available for each color. We're also going to talk about some of the best teams that are going around in Rumble at the moment, and we're going to talk about defending and attacking. We're going to look at some fights. We're going to basically break down all of the different options for each particular color, as we are very heavy in a color meta when it comes to Pirate Rumble. When you are playing Pirate Rumble, obviously if you are versing a DEX team, you probably want to bring a Strength team. It's their natural enemy and it works really well. If you're versing a Quick team, you most likely want to bring a DEX team. And if you're versing a DEX team, you most likely want to bring a Strength team. Same with INT and Side, they're kind of interchangeable. But we are also going to talk about some honorable mentions and some other teams that you guys can put together if you guys want to have a bit more fun with Rumble. We are in Championship at the moment, and this video is being recorded before Anniversary, so things may change with the craziness that Anniversary can bring. But if you do enjoy the video, if it does help you guys out, make sure to belt the like button for me if you are new to the channel or you haven't done so already. Hit that big red subscribe button. But with that said, let's dive into the video. Alright, so before we talk about the actual colors, the color teams, I do want to give some honorable mentions. The first two teams I want to give honorable mentions to are the Slasher team and the... Alright, so before we dive into the actual color teams, I do want to give some honorable mentions. Now, I'm not a huge fan of running these teams per se, because they are usually 6-man teams. But these particular teams can work very, very well as defensive teams. First of all, we have the Slasher team. You've got Wadja, absolute crazy nuker, basically just kills 2 units with their special. You've got Carrot and Wonder, who does a lot of damage, gives you a lot of buffs. Dofi, great passive for HP and defense. He can do a lot of damage with his special too. You get a lot of cooldown reduction with Cracker, and then you have a lot of damage output with Odin. Unfortunately, though, you are rocking 5 legends, which means that your bench is only made up of 1 PvP unit, which in this case is Dalton. You can also use something like Law. You could use something like Rebecca Toy Soldier. You could easily use something like Kaku. Any slasher that will fit on here will just work very, very nicely. But Slash team, it does operate very, very well thanks to Wadja, but nevertheless, like I said, it's a 6-man team, and losing out on these 2 spots here can be quite detrimental. The next team is the Driven team. This team is very, very tanky. With the Fire Tank Pirates, basically they just don't die. Fire Tank Pirates have this ability to just never die. They get 5 HP up to shooters and drivens, 3 defense up, 3 attack up, 5 defense to themselves, and they have blowaway immunity. They lock on themselves, they do healing, they're so good. Next, we've got Page 1 and Ulti. They're great at getting crit rate. They do a lot of damage as well. And they do 2 times damage to Powerhouse, so they're good at versing Powerhouse teams as well. But they just give so much buffs to Driven, right? Blow away, crit up, attack up, a lot of damage. Next, we got my boy Dofi, who gives attack and speed. He also debuffs Powerhouse, so this team actually works really well if you're coming up against, say, a lot of Powerhouse units in the INT team or the Quick team. You got Blackbeard, who's very, very good in Rumble nowadays. 3 speed down to all enemies, 5 HP, 5 attack, and he's special. Gives a lot of cooldown as well as giving action bind. Then you've got Kid. If you get the Kid special off, he just goes through defensive effects and you basically win. And then you've got Smoker. Smoker's probably the best PvP unit in the game. He's actually driven as well, which is really, really nice. He does a bunch of damage, and he has a 100% chance to silence 2 enemies as well as giving miss chance. Level 10 accuracy down, which is absolutely huge. So, they're the first 2 honorable mentions. The next 2 look a little bit like this. The Free Spirit team and the Cerebral team. As I mentioned, these teams are actually really, really good as defensive teams. They provide a sort of provoke in terms of, I'll fight these teams and see how we go, and usually they can get the gravy every now and again. Free Spirit team, we do have the Straw Hat Crew, very, very good unit with their revive mechanic. Ace Sabo, very good at giving defense up, very, very good at doing damage as well. Roger, great debuffer, hits all enemies and does a lot of buffs for your crew. Yamato, halving stats is just so powerful and basically kills 2 units. Odin, one of the best Pirate Rumble units in the game, does a whole bunch of damage, and he has a 70% chance to action bind all enemies in a large range, which is massive. And then finally, Rebecca and Toy Soldier off the bench works really well here. You could use something like Strength Law. That's another option. He's a good Free Spirit unit that does a lot of damage. Dalton, Whitebeard, any characters like that can do damage. But because Rebecca Toy Soldier are actually a Free Spirit, and this team has a lot of Psy characters, they actually work really, really well. Unfortunately, dual units aren't colored. They're called colorless characters. So that's why they sort of have these honorable mentions tab. Next, we've got the Cerebral team. This team here is so damn tanky, and it can survive for absolute days. Cat Viper, very, very good at giving defense up. He applies level 8 defense up on himself, so he just doesn't die. Shirahoshi Mancherry, a lot of healing there, which is very, very nice. You've got the Redhead Pirates for their defense up, Rayleigh for their defense up, and then the nerfing capabilities of Sanji and Pudding. You got a bunch of healing and stuff on the bench too. You could also use like Onami. She's another really good option as well for this particular team. She does boost quick, but she's just very, very strong and she's a cerebral. But this particular team does really, really well, and all of these teams can work very nicely as defensive teams. But they're the honorable mentions. Let's quickly slide over to the first color now, and let's start talking about strength. Alright, so we're starting over here at strength, and the way I've sort of put this together, I have put together a team that I think is very, very good against the Dex variation, as obviously with the color meta, if you are running a strength team, you ideally want to be versing a Dex counterpart. If you're running Dex, you want to be versing quick, and quick, you want to be versing strength. That's the best way to be rocking these teams, and that's the best way to like to almost guarantee you guys some actual wins. Now, this top team here is sort of the best team that I think that will work very well against Dex. The bottom section down here is all of your replacements. And then I've got another tab with my teams as well as a defending strength team as well. But let's take a look at the team to take down Dex. Kid is your damage dealer. He's very, very good. He goes through all defense, which Dex have a lot of. So ignoring defense is very powerful. He's got a very nice passive giving 7 attack up as well. Toki has a very, very strong passive, especially when you are taking on Dex, as she lowers their defense by 5. She has 5 attack up, 5 speed up, 3 defense up. Sanji, for the first 30 seconds, will give you level 3 cooldown, and then level 5 attack buff. And the idea here is you kind of want Sanji to die, so that way Verse Ace can actually come on in. Kaku's another unit that's really good at debuffing Dex units. He gives them level 6 cooldown, and he also gives level 2 defense down, while also giving you 5 attack. This whole team is just built around attack, basically. Finally, X-Drake, the newest legend for the Kazuna Legends, he actually gives level 2 cooldowns to strength, as well as giving a level 6 attack and HP buff to strength as well. So very good passive. He's special, not that amazing, but look, he can action bind Dex as well. Verse Ace on the bench is just a great nuker. Same with Boa Sandersonia, as well as Trafalgar Law. As for your substitute options, if you need something to do damage, Odin is very, very powerful. You can do 2500 fixed damage, as well as doing a big, like another giant hit. He also gives level 5 cooldown and attack buffs to slashes, which includes him. If you do put him on the team, you'd probably want to run Law on the team as well. That way you can make the best out of the strength and the slasher buffs that Law can provide as well, making Odin hit a little bit harder. You also have stuff like Vivi and Kobe. You could run Kobe over something like Sanji to give them more cooldowns. Vivi's another great unit that can give cooldowns as well. And if you need another defensive unit, Jack is very, very powerful here as well. Jack can definitely slide in over something like Toki. But if you are coming up against Dex, Toki's just so damn good. You do have Kuma. He is an option, but like, he's just not very good. He's not very good at all. Another unit that you actually could use that I haven't included here is the Straw Hat Crew. We will talk about them in the defending section of this. But Straw Hat Crew it's probably one of the best Rumble units in the entire game. So if you need to, you can put Straw Hat Crew on here too. Even put him over Sanji, and that way you could you can always get their revive mechanic. You can get all of the damage output that they can provide. Plus, they give a whole bunch of haste to free spirit characters. And then if you had something like Verse Ace, Trafalgar Law, and something like Toki on the team, also with Odin, you can get a lot of cooldowns there as well. So that's the team against Dex. The team that I like to rock, though, looks a little bit like this one down the bottom here. So this is my personal team that I like to use when I am running strength. I do think there is like that. When I'm versing Dex, though, like, there is that other team that just sort of does a lot better. Stuff like Toki and Kaku just, like, mop the floor. But this particular team here is a lot of fun and has a lot of damage output built around the whole Free Spirit core that is here, as well as having Sandersonia on the bench as another Free Spirit unit. As for defending with strengths, this team up the top here actually works really, really nicely. Jack is very good because he can give a rainbow defense buff. Straw Hat Crew is great because they have that revive mechanic. They can do a lot of damage. They can output, like, so much damage. Verse Ace, very, very strong unit as well as giving defense up. If you lose a character and then Kid comes in with his special and just pops off his special, there's a good chance that you can win. And with defending, you kind of are relying on RNG. So this particular strength team does quite well when it comes to defending. But that's the information on the strength team. As I mentioned, this particular team up the top here is the one that I would normally rock for when it comes to actually taking on the Dex variation. But with that said, let's take a look at a Dex fight now. Alright, so I managed to find a Dex team, and it actually took me a little while. So this particular team isn't exactly the creme de la crop when it comes to actual Dex teams. But it is going to be a nice showcase to show you guys how much nerfing capabilities the strength team has when we do come up against something like a Dex team. Obviously, if they had like Dogstorm on the team, If they had something like Queen on the team, that would be another really, really good option. They do have Kizaru, they do have Moria, which are some PvP units. Sorry, they do have Queen. If they had something like, my gosh, I'm blanking. I can't remember right now, but we'll talk about it once we get to the DEX sort of variation of this particular video. If they had, like, CatDog with, Dofi on the bench, or Zoro on the bench, they're the characters I was thinking of, it would be a little bit more scary in terms of the back end of the fight, but they still do have quite a good core. As you can see, we're basically popping off all of our specials now. We're getting a lot of attack up, we're getting a lot of crit up, we are action binding as well, which is great. Kaku's lowering their defense, which is awesome. Sanji's giving us a lot of cooldown, so we're basically ready to go. And the idea here is to just get Kid's special ready to go as quickly as possible, and that way Kid can sort of just pop off. As you can see, like, they've got, like, very low cooldowns. They do have quite high defense, but Kid doesn't care. He's basically just going to kill a whole bunch of characters. We do lose Sanji quite quickly. With this particular team, I totally space cadetted and didn't include Verse Ace. I forgot to put Verse Ace on it instead of Dalton, but ideally you'd have a Verse Ace coming in where that Sandersonia spot is, and Verse Ace can just do a lot in the back end of the fight, which is really, really nice. Sandersonia, Law are very good nukers as well. They can do a lot of damage, and as you can see, we can sort of just tank shots for days, thanks to Toki. Once sort of the back end goes back around, we get our specials back again, and we can basically just go one more. This actual team was fairly tanky now that I'm actually looking at it, but if you get a better sort of attack with Kid, and Kid kills a bunch more enemies than just 3, you're going to be in good stead. But nevertheless, now that they've basically taken out more than half of their team, it's game over from here. So we'll let this one rock out. Toki's going to give us some more cooldowns. Going to get some more attack buffs. And once Sandersonia goes, we should be able to end this. Beautiful. So there you go. That was the Strength Team versus DEX. Usually doesn't have any problems whatsoever. I'm yet to lose to a DEX team, especially when you are rocking all the big heavy hitters like we do have here. Let's take a look at the DEX team now. Alright, so taking a look at the DEX team now, the top team here is the team that I think will do the best against the quick variation. With the combination of Cat Viper over here and Dogstorm over here, like, you can just do so much damage to quick. If you have a Cat Viper on the team, Dogstorm gets like a level 5 attack buff to himself. He gives a level 7 HP and attack buff to Dex as well. He applies level 7 attack up, defense up, and then does a counter. And then he also does 2 times his attack and damage to 3 enemies, provided you have Cat Viper on the team. Cat Viper does the same thing. He does 3,500 times attack to 3 quick enemies, as long as you have Dogstorm on the team. And the 2 of these guys together basically just absolutely destroy quick. Next, you've got the Moria and Kizaru combo. They basically came out to nerf quick when it was running absolute riot over on Japan. Kizaru is great for your defense, your speed. He debuffs quick by giving them level 5 speed down. And then Moria debuffs Dex in terms of their defense, as well as giving a level 5 attack buff to himself. Next, we've got Dalton, who's quite new. Dalton's just so good. He's a really good bench unit, but he also works great in the front lines of the Dex team. He does level 5 attack and defense up and crit up to Dex, and then deals 3 times his attack damage to 1 enemy. So basically he just like attacks 3 times. So like he does so much damage, and he can almost kill 3 units most of the time. He applies level 7 crit up buff to Dex for 25 seconds and level 10 speed down to quick as well. On the bench, you've got Dofi. This guy, when he comes in the last 30 seconds, does 4 attacks. He goes like 1, 2, no, I think it's like 5 attacks. And it's just, he does so much damage. He buffs Dex, but he also buffs Driven. So when he comes in, he can give this guy a buff. And there is another team comp that I do actually really like to run when it comes to Dofi as well. Next, we've got Submask, very good bench nuker, as well as Cavendish, being a driven unit to come in, but you can use like Whitebeard or some other like real good nuker on the bench. Down the bottom, you have a bunch of other options here if you guys need some replacements. If you got one like Cat Dog, one or the other, I would sort of opt not to using them. Like say you've only got Dogstorm, but you don't have Cat Viper, I just wouldn't even use Dogstorm. I would slide something like Queen on the team or Lucci on the team. You can even use something like the Straw Hats, which are very good. Rayleigh's really good as a defensive option. Corazone's really good as a defensive option as well. And Law has pretty good countering mechanics as well. So you can use him if you are looking for another option. If you wanted to build a more driven-based team, you also have access to Kid as well. And you could use something like Dofi in the front lines. You could use like Dofi, Cavendish, Moria, Kid, and Queen. You could also use Zoro, who's a driven unit, and then have some backhanded damage there. But the whole idea of DEX is to sort of tank, and then at the end, when you lose your frontline units, you have stuff like Doflamingo come in, Sobermas come in, and even Zoro come in as well. Taking a look at the defensive team for DEX, I have put together a very driven-centric defensive team. With Kid, he can give defense, he does a lot of damage. Kizaru is kind of like a staple just because he's so good at buffing your defense. Queen is very, very tanky. Mori is really, really good at giving defense down to the enemies. And Dofi, because he gives driven characters a buff, which his whole team besides Kizaru is, it actually works really nicely to get him to the back end of the fight, so he can just output a lot of damage. And if you do lose, say, Kizaru, you will have Zoro coming in, who's another driven character, who can give you a lot of damage. And the idea here is to, like, hopefully get these two characters to pop off and just do tons of damage. But as you guys saw in the last fight, if you are coming up against something like Strength, it's very, very hard to win because Strength does have a lot of ways of nerfing them. This bottom team that I am rocking down here is the team that I like to use. It's very similar to the team to take on Quick, and it's the team that we'll be using in today's video. So let's take a look at that fight. Alright, so for the quick fight, I thought, hey, let's take on the challenge mode. So with the release of Corazon, Quick Corazon, there is a challenge mode, and you'll never really see these particular teams in facing other players. But I thought this would be a really good chance to showcase the new challenge mode as well as talk about the DEX team. Because the DEX team, when it comes up against Quick, it does so much numbers, man. If you got Cat Viper and Dogstorm on the same team as well as Kizaru and Moria, it's basically unfair. Like, it's so unfair. If you don't have Cat Viper, but you do have Dogstorm, or you have Dogstorm and you don't have Cat Viper, as I mentioned, I wouldn't run them. I would, like, slide Dofi on the team. Maybe try and implement stuff like Kid for some more damage. Using stuff like Cavendish in the middle slot can work well too. As Cavendish, you kind of only want him in the first 40 seconds. Look how much stats the enemy has as well. Like, these challenge modes, like, they go absolutely brazy. They got all their cooldowns ready, like, way before ours. Besides Kizaru, but Kizaru's on such a, like, low cooldown. That we're basically just gonna... Oh, Cat Viper popped off first. Yo, Cat Viper popping off first is so rare. But basically we're just gonna cop, like, EGOgotic just going to absolute AWOL. Like, just chill, EGOgotic. Just chill. Moria is going to lower all their defense because he lowers the defense of DEX enemies as well as lowering the defense of, like, in a range as well. It just allows your Cat Viper, Dogstorm, Dalton to just do so much extra damage. This Quick team obviously is, like, just stupidly overpowered because it is a challenge mode. But nevertheless, like, once we get our counter mechanic from Dogstorm, we can do a bunch of damage from Dogstorm. Dalton's basically just going to kill 3 units now. Oh, Corazon managed to tank it. But then you look at his bench. He's got King and Kaido coming in with Whitebeard just chilling there, like, waiting. But nevertheless, like, if we get to the last 30 seconds and we lose any of our units, I'm looking at Moria right here, and Moria's looking pretty close to going down. Once Dofi comes in, like, it's actually more beneficial for us. Yeah, Moria is 100% dead here. Oh my gosh, that's baby damage, Kaido. Get out of here, my boy. We kind of... Okay, sweet. So Cat Viper's killing King. We're going to lower a lot of defense here. Whitebeard coming into the front there is really annoying because, like, RNG and Rumble is still such a prevalent thing. And we only hit Whitebeard. Cool. You love to see it, but look, it's fine. It's fine. He's going to get himself some defense up. Now we really, really want someone to die because we're coming to that back end of the 30 seconds. They're going to get a lot of healing and defense up, which is kind of annoying, but we're going to have Dogstorm. We're going to have Cat Viper. Can you please kill Moria? Oh my gosh, it's baby damage. Oh, Moria didn't even get hit. It wasn't baby damage. It was actually quite big damage. Come on, please just kill. You need to kill Moria for me. That would be amazing. Okay, surely Kaido will kill here. Well, I'm actually going to lose a lot of units. But, nevertheless... Oh, that's not good. Look, Dofi's just going to wrap it up for us. And this is the power of Doflamingo. Coming in with his special ready to go. This is just going to be absolute chaos. 1, 2, 3. Didn't even get the 4th. That's the power of Dofi in the backlines. Even when you get really bad RNG like that and it gets a little bit scary, Dofi is always there to save the day. You also have Zoro as well who can do stuff like that. But that's the DEX team. Let's move on to Quick now. Alright, so taking a look at the Quick team now, the team that's very good at taking on Strength looks a little bit like this. Now, with the release of this new Corazon, he's another really good unit that can nerf Strength, but because he's fairly new and I obviously don't have him, it's the only Pirate Rumble character actually I don't have. I haven't had a chance to actually use him, but he does give defense and guard up to Quick for 20 seconds, lowers special CT to Strength characters, does a 70% HP cut, which is absolutely nuts. Applies level 6 attack and HP buff to Quick and level 6 attack down to Strength. Whilst he has a very good passive, I just don't think it's actually necessary for the quick team right now. But nevertheless, like if you are coming up against strength, he's going to be a very, very good option if you are missing some of these characters, namely Shiryu. EGOgotic, the treasure map legend, very, very good at taking down strength. They give level 6 special CT down debuff to strength with the highest defense. The first 30 seconds is just absolutely nuts. They give themselves cooldowns. They give level 5 speed and defense up to quick. And they just do so much damage. Like, they just continuously pop their special over and over and over again like you saw in the last fight. Kaido is still an absolute powerhouse, lowering defense, doing a lot of damage in a radius. Still a staple when it comes to the quick team. Shiryu, very, very good for the first 30 seconds to apply levels 3 cooldowns buff to quick. You kind of want him to die though, like that's the idea. Nevertheless, like you don't really die when it comes to the strength team, but if you do have Straw Hat Crew or Rayleigh or something there, you actually can die, and it can be a bit of an issue. So Shiryu is the one that you want to die, so that way the groggy monsters can actually come in. With Akainu does so much damage to strength units. He gives himself cooldowns. You guys know how strong he is. He's been around for a little while now. Brook, one of the newer legends, very, very good for the quick team, especially when you are coming up against strength, because he has a 100% chance to reduce haste to 3 quick characters. So he's just a better version of Miguel, and he's just a better version of Final Tap Luffy. He gives speed, attack buff to quick, which the whole idea here is just to get a lot of speed and a lot of attack. And he also gives level 6 speed down to strength. Groggy monsters, they're very similar to a Kaido. They can come in and do a lot of damage. Whitebeard, very similar to Kaido, can lower the defense and does a lot of damage as well. So this team does not struggle at all against strength. The only time it can struggle is when like Straw Hat Crew is floating around because of their RNG reliant. When it comes to the defense, the other options you have for quick, Last Tap Luffy and Magellan are very good options if you don't have something like Brook, because they can actually give haste. Tessero can give some like speed, as well as Kuzan can give some speed too. These guys are quite good if you don't have something like Kiku or Izo and Kiku. They're basically your like only other options there. Cracker's another option for cooldown reduction, but he only does it to Slasher and Powerhouse units. So just be mindful of that. But lucky for us, like most of this team is Slasher, like these two, as well as being Powerhouse with these two there. King and Katakuri, if you want to build out like a Powerhouse build with something like Treasure Map Queen, is a good option as well. You can build like a very Powerhouse-centric build with stuff like Katakuri, Queen, King, Magellan, Kaido, and Akainu. You also have Whitebeard up here. Actually, no, Whitebeard's not. Okay, I thought it was a powerhouse. Never mind. You have the groggy monsters, though. They're definitely powerhouse. So this particular team here, it doesn't have any issues whatsoever when it comes up to strength. But when it comes to defending with quick, it looks a little bit like this. Now, again, you want to sort of rely on RNG a little bit here to sort of get your units to sort of pop off and do a lot of damage and sort of kill as many units as you can. But when it comes to the DEX team, that if you're fighting the DEX team, like, or the DEX team that's floating around, defending with quick is very, very brazy. It's probably the worst defensive team in my opinion. I think the best defensive team is that the strength defending team with the Straw Hat Crew, with Kid on the bench, because you can get the RNG there. So if you're looking for the best sort of defensive team, I would recommend this one right here with the strength team. But when it comes to defending with quick, this is kind of the best option, and it's pretty shitty. So like, I just wouldn't defend with quick if it was me. But if you want to, it's there for you. This particular team down the bottom here is the team that I stereotypically like to rock, and it is the team that we're going to be taking a look at right now. Alright, so just like the DEX fight, the challenge mode for the Sander Sonya release is actually still live as well. So, hey, let's take on another challenge mode. These guys have, like, obviously a team you'll never see, has a lot of combat power, so let's take it on with our quick team. Now let's see how we go. With the release of Brook, with EGOgotic, as well as Akainu being able to, like, just absolutely tear through with the damage output, this team should do fairly well. With level limit break as well, it's something that I have failed to mention throughout this particular video. With level limit break, Rumble has become very, very, very different in the sense of if you have, say, for example, Ace versus Akainu at level 150 when coming up against a strength team, they're just going to do absolute bits. They're going to do so much damage output that it's going to be absolutely chaos. Same with something like Kaido. As you guys saw there, Kaido actually popped off first, which is quite rare. Normally, you'll see something like EGOgotic pop off first. They do a lot of damage. As you can see, they just attack like over and over and over and over again, and they do a lot of damage. But we do want to try and get rid of Kid early. Kid is the one that we are going to be the most scared of, because Kid just bypasses all of our defense, and he can do a lot of damage. But as you'll see with the Kainu coming in, Kainu does 3 big hits, including a HP cut, 2 strength, and basically it's just game over from here. We've already wiped out, like, majority of the enemy's team. Vivi's in a really bad way. Even with the defense up that Jack can provide in the HP cuts that he does, it's not going to matter because with Shiryu, he's actually going to just basically kill Vivi and do a lot of damage to the rest of the units. From here, we can tank some shots. If we lose some characters, we've got some good backline units in the Groggy Monsters and Whitebeard as well, and we should be hunky-dory from here. Kobe can be a little bit of an issue because he's basically just going to give a max special charge to Odin every single time, but even if Odin does pop off that special again, like if it gave it to Kid, it'd be a little bit scary, but even if Odin does pop off that special, he might kill a unit or two, but it just doesn't matter at this particular point. The Groggy Monsters are going to have their special ready to go. And even if Kobe pops off, it's just game over from here. So beautiful. So that was the challenge mode. That was the quick team against strength. Does work very, very nicely. Again, yet to lose with this particular team when it comes up against strength. But with the Straw Hat crew being a thing, you can get unlucky there. That was the final rotation when it comes to the strength, dex, and quick. Let's take a look at Psy and Int now. Alright, so starting off with Psy now. So Psy have, they're interchangeable when it comes to Psy and Int. And Psy have a lot of really good options. And this top team up here is a team that you'll see stereotypically that's really good at nerfing Int. I don't know if I'd say it's the best team because, like I said, Int and Psy are interchangeable. And obviously Psy being good against Int and Int being good against Psy does make it a little bit tricky. And if you do want to sort of like nerf the Int team the best you possibly can, this team's pretty much the one you want to go for. Namely because like Kuzan can nerf Int, Law can nerf powerhouse units, which most of the Int characters are, and then Germa has the ability to debuff Int's defense as well. Strusen's great at giving defense up, and then Yamato with her half stats, doing a lot of damage, can actually just kill a lot of units. The Rebecca Toy Soldier off the bench is a really good unit. Ideally, you want to have them in the front lines, but like with the lineup that Psy has, finding a spot for them nowadays can be quite tricky, even though their passive is absolutely busted. The final two units are basically just nuking units on the bench. You can use basically anything else you like. If you got Whitebeard, you could use that. You could also use something like, how many legends do we have here? 4. Never mind. So you could use something like Whitebeard and Roger. They could also work well. But you do have a lot of options when it comes to the Psy team. And I do have another Psy build that we will talk about in a second, the one that I like to use. But for some replacements for Psy, you do have Odin, one of the best Rumble units in the game. So if you can find a spot for him, it's always nice to have him on the team. The problem is his ability buffs Psy and Free Spirit. So ideally you want to build a Psy Free Spirit team. Lucky for you guys, you've got stuff like Roger, you've got stuff like Sanji, you've got stuff like Straw Hat Crew, you've got stuff like Yamato, Law, Strusen, Rebecca. These are all Free Spirit Psy characters. So with Odin, you can build a very nice team. You've also got Verse Shanks. Verse Shanks is a great bench unit. V1 Shanks as well, with his level limit break expansion, is another really good character that you guys could use on this particular team as well if you have him maxed out. The back end of the fight, he can do a lot of damage. Boa is another good unit to have on the team. She's very good at defense. The Smoothie and Scopper, Gaban, the characters from Rumble are also great options if you're missing stuff like Strusen. If you're missing stuff like Strusen, you have Rebecca Toy Soldier. Rebecca Toy Soldier is just the next best fit. Taking a look at the defensive team for Psy, I like to run something like this when it comes to defending. For me, is when I'm doing the block fights, I'll usually run like a 4-man team, and it'll look a little bit like this, but I won't have Whitebeard Roger, I won't have Kinemon Dendro or Straw Hat Crew, and I'll just probably slide Roger in there somewhere. But this particular team down the bottom here is the one that I like to use when it comes to running the Psy variation. And running a Psy Free Spirit team is actually a lot of fun. You have Kinemon Dendro. Unfortunately, they're not a Psy character, but they do buff Free Spirit characters very, very nicely. Their special can give healing, 8 attack, speed, and recovery buff to Free Spirit characters, and it just sort of keeps you alive a little bit because you do have quite a bit of defense up, and you're relying on stuff like Odin and Yamato to do all your damage output. This is the team that we are going to be looking at today when we do the match. But if you are looking at defending, something like Straw Hat Pirates are very, very powerful. Very, very good. This particular team here, like I said, is centric around Free Spirit and Psy characters. And if you can't sort of get all that synergy with Free Spirit and Psy, you can sort of rock something else that looks a little bit like this, as Germa is very, very good. Law is an absolute monster when it comes to Rumble. When you are coming up against Int and Powerhouse characters, bringing Law on the team is incredibly good. Like, he's incredibly strong, and it's actually, I might actually slide him in here for today's fight, because we may come up against some Powerhouse, we may come up against some Driven characters and stuff like that. But nevertheless, this team here does very well against Psy. It's just, with Odin, Roger, and these particular characters here, they can just work a lot nicer. If you're looking to defend, Psy is a very, very good defensive team, namely because of Roger and Odin. not Roger and Odin, Roger and Whitebeard coming in at the end of the fight and basically just killing 2 units as well. Very similar to what like the Straw Hats provide in terms of their RNG related stats. But this team does really, really well. And with that said, let's take a look at the INT fight. Alright, so I managed to find quite a decent INT team, if like I'm being real with you. This INT team is a little bit scary. It's just a little bit scary. But we're going to take it on anyway, and let's see how we go. I did slide Lore in the team because basically we're coming up against a full powerhouse-driven setup, especially with the back end of the bench. They've got stuff like Enel, they've got stuff like Smoker. INT has such an array of different options that like it's quite hard to sort of pinpoint a side team that comes up against them very, very well. And honestly, once we get to the end part of this video, like, I couldn't even include all the characters in the video. Like, it's absolutely wild. So, Enel, Smoker on the bench is quite scary. They do normally like to rock Enel after the sort of you lose characters. But as you can see, they've got all Powerhouse, they've got all Driven except for Perona. So that way, if we bring Lore, we can nerf their special cooldowns. And we can bring stuff like our Yamato to pop off first. Now, normally, the Moria special will always go first if you don't bring Lore. As if you didn't get any nerfing there, Roger. My god, man. Run straight past everyone. Lucky for us, Roger is always... Don't you dare. Wow, we only hit 1 unit. Or we hit Yamato as well. Wow, okay. So we should have killed... Oh my god. This RNG has been really bad. Really, really bad. Normally when Roger comes in, he like lowers their attack, lowers their defense and all that, and then allows your Odin to just absolutely pop off. But unlucky for us, their characters were all spread out, and that's sort of the downside when it comes to Pirate Rumble. RNG is still a huge factor. Huge factor. But lucky for us, we've basically got this one wrapped up, I think. Perona is going to nerf us drastically as well as heal his team. But the healing's not that amazing, and we have our Yamato special ready to go once again, so we should be absolutely fine here. Reiju on a defensive INT team is so annoying, especially when you partner her up with... Wow, that was a lot of damage. Interesting. Lucky for us, we get Rebecca Toy Soldier and their amazing passive to come in now. With Perona and Reiju, they can be an absolutely nasty combo. Are you dead set? I thought you just didn't hit anyone then, and I was actually going to scream. Like, actually scream. Look how much defense they have, though. They've still got, like, 11 defense. Managed to kill Yamato, which is huge, because that's all of their damage output. And from here, we're going to be absolutely hunky-dory. Odin can just do so much damage with his special. Strussen's going to lower the defense once again, and then Lore should kill both of these guys, actually, with the fixed damage. Oh, so close. But there you guys go. That was the Psy taking on the INT team. I don't know what the combat level was. It looked a lot scarier than the actual fight was. But nevertheless, we actually managed to get it done. So that was Psy versus INT. The combat power was actually pretty high. Like, it wasn't terrible. That was Psy versus INT, though. Let's take a look at the INT variation and wrap up the video. And the final color variation is INT. And INT just has an absolute smorgasbord of characters that I actually couldn't even include them all on this actual, like, slide here. So it's just actually wild. With the release of Rogue and the Elbath Giants of Brogy and Dory, they are very, very good at taking on Psy, and in my opinion, they're much better at taking on Psy than Psy is taking on INT. With the new Olin as well, she's also good at nerfing Psy as well. You have Conus, who is very, very good at reducing the special cooldown of Psy. The idea of Conus is you want her to die fairly fast. You just want her ability to kick in, and then you literally want her to die as quickly as possible. So that way you have this back-ended powerhouse, like, bench coming in, because, like, Conus only has, like... For the first 40 seconds, she gives you your buffs. After that, she's basically just, like, there. But her special can be quite powerful as well. If she doesn't sort of provide what you need her to provide, you can easily just flick her from the team and then put Olin in the middle there, and that will work fine too. As this whole team is very powerhouse-centric, and Olin will give a level 5 buff of attack to INT and a 5 HP buff to Powerhouse, which may be better in the long run. I'm not using this team, but I did want to add Conus in here somewhere, just so we could actually talk about Conus. The combination of Brogy and Dory giving them like extra attack down and all the damage that these guys do. These two are your main damage dealers, as well as your Rogue, like going absolutely AWOL on bloody Psy characters. For the first 30 seconds, he gets cooldown to himself, and he reduces the cooldown speed of Psy. So honestly, like, Conus is like not even needed here. You could easily just remove her from the team and then like just bring Lin on the team here. And that way you could just like push up Yamato, push up Smoker in the back end of these fights here. And then you could also run something like Katakuri here. You could also use characters like Enel or Enoru. He's very, very good. He's got a great passive, but you need to make sure that he's coming in last. So So you'd have to flick something like Smoker or even flick something like Yamato to make him work on the team. As for other characters, you have stuff like Reiju. Reiju's a really good character, but she's mainly used on defensive teams. But the powerhouse that sort of Yamato can provide, as well as Smoker on the bench, with this sort of core lineup and halving stats with Moria, it's just absolutely chaotic what you can actually do with this particular team. You have stuff like Jozu as a replacement. He can give defense and guard up. If you want to build like a driven slasher team, you can use stuff like the Halloween slashers and Dofi. That'll work quite well. You have an option with Whitebeard being a powerhouse character, or even verse Big Mom for her damage. You have Katakuri as well, another really, really good option, especially when it comes to taking down Psy characters. He nerfs the cooldown of Psy by level 5. So if you don't have something like Olin, then you can definitely use Katakuri. So Int is just so good at taking down Psy, and the team that I like to use looks a little bit like this one down here. I have been having a lot of fun with this new Olin, and we are going to showcase this particular team down here in today's video. But when it comes to defending, Int has a lot of very good options as well. The Perona Reiju combination and the healing that Komurasaki can provide is very, very, very annoying. And then halving stats and getting the RNG of stuff like Yamato and Gecko Moria can be very detrimental if you are coming up against the Int team. That you can easily put other characters on there as well. Like you could just even drop Komurasaki, bring in something like Yurug, and then fill the bench as well. That's another option for you. But just be mindful when you are defending, you want to put up a team that people want to fight, as well as one that could get you a couple of wins here and there, especially when it comes to championship time. But when it comes to just like the blocks, I'd like to put up like 4-man teams and just try and pick off some confident players that I like to sort of try and take down particular teams, or testing other teams as well. This is the team that we're going to look at today. And with that said, let's have a look at the final fight of the video. Alright, so we managed to find a pretty chunky looking Psy team. They're also rocking Wano Law, who's actually going to nerf us drastically because we are running all powerhouse characters besides Olin. So let's jump on in. Let's take a look. We've got Odin on their team as well as Roger and Yamato. So there's some pretty big hitters on this guy's team, and as well as using something like Boa to give him some defensive capabilities when she gets at low HP. So let's see how we go here. Our stats are looking pretty nice, but obviously we get our speed reduced and our cooldowns reduced because of Mr. Wano Law, which can be a little bit annoying. So nevertheless, I think we'll still get our Moria special fairly early because he gives himself the 3 cooldown, as well as Yurug actually giving them special cooldown reduction, as well as Big Mom doing the same thing. So we're going to half the stats of... I think we halved the stats of Odin there, didn't we? I think we did. Okay, we're going to get Dory popping off. Dory does a bunch of damage, which is great. And he can also special bind. Unfortunately, like Odin's immune to special binds. We're going to take that that big shot from Yamato, halving the stats of Moria as well as Dory, and then copying the shot, which is always very scary when it comes to versing Yamato. And that's why having Yamato on sort of a defensive team, very similar to like Straw Hats as well, getting that RNG base and Kid going through defense can be very, very alarming. As you see here, we lost Moria, we lost Dory very early because they're the ones that got absolutely destroyed by the half stats of Yamato. But with the strong bench that we have with Smoker and Yamato actually coming in for their replacements, we're pretty much in good stead anyway. So losing those 2 units isn't the end of the world. Olin does a lot of damage to Psy characters, which is great. If we had the Yamato special there, we would be absolutely hitting like a truck. And once Brogy goes off though, we're basically won. He does so much damage, and he just absolutely devours 2 units, which lucky for us was Yamato, and we didn't even like get our Yurog to pop off. He does 21,000 to Roger. He only hits Psy units though. That's what makes him a bit weaker in terms of running him as a character. And honestly, he's quite forgettable. I totally forgot to even include him in my tier list. So shout out to Yurog, I guess. But there you guys go. That was in taking on Psy. Does it fairly nicely, and doesn't have too many issues there. Let's wrap up the video though. Alright, so to wrap up the video, once again, honorable mentions to the Slasher, Driven, Cerebral, and Free Spirit teams. These guys work really, really well as defensive teams if you want to check them out. Taking on DEX, this top team up here is usually the best to go for, but you do have a lot of other options when it comes to strength as well. With the level limit break of Whitebeard too, he's gotten quite nice, giving a level 9 attack and defense buff now, not level 8. But with the Straw Hat crew being there as well, like you can do some really, really cool things. But you also have stuff like Sanji, you can do stuff like Kobe for more cooldowns, And that particular team, we're actually going to put Sanji back on while we wrap up the video, just to show that. Having something like Sanji here to give cooldowns in this team does really, really well when you are taking on DEX. If you like to defend, this is a very, very good defensive team. In my opinion, it's one of the best defensive teams going around. So if you're looking for a very strong defensive team, this is a really good option for you. Looking at DEX now, this team here has no issues whatsoever taking on Quick. Cavendish, completely replaceable with another bench nuker. But if you have stuff like Kid or Lucci, you can even put on something like Zoro if you're missing this V2 Dofi. If you are missing the Cat Viper Dogstorm combination, but you have this particular combination of Kizaru and Moria, you will be in good stead, and you can just use something like even putting like Dofi in the front lines and then bringing Kid on the team. That works absolutely fine. Having a defensive DEX team can work because of the back-end damage of stuff like Dofi and stuff like Zoro. If you don't have Kizaru as well, a character that I actually forgot to mention that's just come to my mind is 6+ Brook. Very, very good at healing, very, very good at tanking, and a great option if you are missing something like Kizaru. So that is the DEX team. You could also rock something like Straw Hat Crew if you really want to as well, but Straw Hat Crew not giving the most buffs to a driven-centric team. Looking at Quick now, the attacking Quick team just absolutely devours strength, as we saw in the challenge run. Very similar to how the DEX destroyed Quick in the challenge run as well. This particular team does absolute bits. It does not struggle one bit, but defending with Quick, absolute dookie pants. Don't even try it. Don't even worry. But in saying that, though, Quick has a lot of different options. We didn't even talk about stuff like Bellamy, who's free to play, Ivankov, who's free to play. You've got Kazuna King, who's a great nuker. So Quick has a lot of options, and their attacking prowess is not to be discouraged. But as for defending, man, they're dookie pants. Onto Psy now, probably the best Rumble team in the game, in my opinion. As a borderline statement, I do think Psy is the strongest. When coming up against INT, obviously it does struggle, but this particular team that you see down here, it was actually working really well against Urug, especially if you have Law in this particular slot. And when the championship for the Super Pirate Rumble was on, it was very, very scary going up against a Psy team, especially a Psy team that looks like this. You can also even put something like the Straw Hat Crew on the Psy team, and the reason you can do that is because it's very Free Spirit centric. They give 100% haste to Free Spirit characters, which means you can get Odin to pop off, Yamato to pop off, and with some good RNG, you could actually kill stuff like Urug and stuff like that as well. So for defending, this particular team just works so good that even against INT, it does put up a very, very good fight. Talking about INT now, the INT actual team, this one here at the top here, as you guys saw in the fight, like, does not struggle one bit when it comes to Psy. It does a lot of damage, has a lot of very good options, namely Yamato and Smoker on the bench. This last spot here, you can put any other nuker. I think I was using Dalton. I really like Dalton. And as I mentioned, Psy has a smorgasbord of actual replacements. Their verse Big Mom, Katakuri, Konus, verse Whitebeard, the Halloween Slashers, Dofi, Perona, Reiju, Jozu. Like, the list goes on and on when it comes to INT, and it does very, very well against Psy. This particular defensive team is very, very powerful, and INT is one of the best defending teams because they have the ability to stall out the fight very, very easily. As for taking on Psy, though, as you guys saw, it didn't struggle one bit, so that is going to wrap up the wrap-up. There you guys go. That was a lot to digest, and I thank you so much for hanging it out to the end. That was the ultimate PvP Pirate Rumble guide, taking a look at all of the color teams, all the options, and even showcasing what the power of these color teams can actually do. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite Rumble team is, what team you guys are having the most fun with. Do you like using stuff like color meta, or do you prefer using something like the class meta? Let me know in the comment section below. I love to have a chat to you guys about this sort of stuff, as it's very interesting to see the community's thoughts and opinions on this. But if you did enjoy the video, thank you so much for hanging out to the end if you are actually up to this point. If you did enjoy the video, though, make sure to belt the like button for me if you're new to the channel. Hit that big red subscribe button. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Let's